Okay, we'll go ahead and call the meeting to order. Could I get roll call, please?
Commissioner Laird,
Present.
Commissioner Milne,
Here.
Commissioner Nicolason,
Here.
Commissioner North,
Here.
Chairman Frill.
Here. Would you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
What did they add on to that?
Okay, we'll move forward to the approval of the consent agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to remove the adoption of the Casper Mountain Trail Center and Summer Trail Master Plan from the consent agenda and have a separate vote on that, if we may.
Okay, Commissioner North wants to remove item G, adoption of the Casper Mountain Trail Center Summer Trail Master Plan, and we'll do that on its own. Do I need a motion? Just move forward on it. So do I have a motion on the consent agenda minus item G?
I'll second that.
Moved by Commissioner Nicolason, second by Commissioner North. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. So we will now bring up the adoption of the Casper Mountain Trail Center Summer Trail Master Plan, which is item G under the consent agenda number 3.
Mr. Chairman, I'd move that we make a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve by Commissioner North. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Laird. Discussion? All right, no discussion. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. We'll move to public comment. Anybody that wants to come up with public comment can. We have a 5-minute time period, so we don't go past 5 minutes, so we need to make sure that you get your comments in that period of time. However, my clock's not working at the moment. So hang on just 1 second.
I've got a timer on my watch that I used at planning and zoning. If you want me to time myself, I'd be happy to.
Okay, hang on 1 second. Commissioner Milne, did you have something? It does.
And then also the tax rate.
It does. That's all on the consent agenda.
So for those members that may have been appointed or.
Jim.
My bad. Those board members that may have put in or whatever, they need to take a look. Congratulations on being selected. And, sir, sorry.
Actually, while we're waiting, let me hold off just 1 second on public comment. While we're waiting for that to reboot, I'll run down the board appointment. So Andrew Elston has been appointed to the Planning and Zoning Board of Appeals. Scott Malson, same board. Tiffany Gamble to Natrona County Travel and Tourism. Michael Steinberg to the Casper Reentry Center Board. Judge Ames, Casper Reentry Center Board. Kristen Stoner, same board. Jeffrey Bullard, same board. Keith Tyler to the Citizens Transportation Advisory Commission. Catherine Carr, Natrona County Library Board. William Knight, Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees. James Bell, Memorial Hospital Board of Trustees. And Caroline Kirsch, Casper, Natrona County Board of Health. And with that, I talked too fast. We still don't have a clock, so we'll go ahead and if you want to use your phone, or I'll use mine, and you can go ahead and start your comments, sir. Can I get your name and?
Mr. Chairman, I'm Bob Bailey, 2800 Arden Lane, Casper, Wyoming,
Thank you, sir.
82609. I was here at the earlier work session, and I'll try to keep my comments brief. My son is on the Historical Preservation Commission of your board, excuse me. And I came to my knowledge about a week ago that these gentlemen that were here before were coming in front of that board, and it came to my attention that they had thought that you guys were going to be at that meeting and were trying to go around that Historical Preservation Board to get to you directly. And therefore, I thought something doesn't smell exactly right if they're not following the exact process to get their requests up to you. So I started looking at it and thinking about it, and my comment was, why is somebody from Colorado interested in our tourism? And why are they interested in improving our tourism? I thought about this for a long time, and I went to that meeting, and they handed out a different packet of material than what was sent to Rick Young on that at Fort Casper board, and there were some changes in that thing. And so I started thinking, well, again, something doesn't smell exactly right. And the only thing I could come up with was that there's some money involved somewhere for them. And I looked at the company, and the 4 people that are in that company have basically worked for the federal government over time. And there's some academia there, and nothing really. There's a communications guy, there was a BLM guy, a Bureau of Rec guy, and so nothing fit with why they want to do anything for us except for his company, who is based in Denver. I've got some emails and that kind of stuff, and I'd be happy to share all that with you guys at some other time. We have some time to see what they, but when we went to that meeting, they changed the map, and it went from Natrona County down to basically I-80. And it now includes all of Carbon County. And I believe if you look, Carbon County and Natrona County make up about 13.6% of the land area in the state of Wyoming. That's over 1/8 of the land area in the state. That's 12.5%, so this is 13.6. And if you look at that map and you draw a line across the top, we have the Historic Trail Center that's here, which takes care of the Oregon Trail, the Pony Express, the Mormon Trail, all the 5 trails that go through here. And if you look at taking a slice of that map and projecting it out towards Independence Rock, there's nothing really south of there that's particularly attractive to people that are going to come through Wyoming. The top 16 destination spots in Wyoming are this, in order: Yellowstone, Grand Teton, Jackson, Hot Springs State Park, Bridger Teton National Forest, Buffalo Bill Center of the West, Flaming Gorge, the Wind River Range, Grand Targhee Ski Area, National Historic Trails Interpretive Center, Fort Laramie, Devil's Tower, Bighorn Canyon National Recreation Area, Cheyenne, Kurt Gowdy State Park, and Old Trail Town. If you're making your trip out here and you don't have it made, I don't think an app's going to get you to see any of those places. But if you look at that, that's I-80, that's I-90, and a little swath up to Casper and probably up to Sweetwater and over towards Jackson. So, and I've been out in that country that's between here and Rawlins. And, how important is it for me to know that the Union Pacific Railroad is there? I mean, you drive by it from Cheyenne to Evanston.
Sure.
Highway 30 is, excuse me.
That you're at 5 minutes just
Oh.
letting you know, so.
Okay, all right. That was a short 5 minutes.
Actually, it went a little bit over, so.
Oh, okay. Well, I'd be happy to answer any questions, but there are some things that, in my mind, don't add up for why they're doing that. If I could have just one quick moment left. The point brought up today was a very good one about the government changing their mind. And they've done that recently, the Department of the Interior, I believe, has stopped all oil and gas leasing on the Navajo Nation Reservation. That's not a state or a county, that's a nation for them, and they've stopped that. And recently, I think the BLM has done some other stuff to stop leasing and that from them.
If you have additional information, feel free to email it to us, and we'll be more than happy to take a look at it.
I've got a wad of it, so I'll try and put some packets together and get you some information on that. And I'll type up some of my notes, because I've got serious questions about what they're doing. And if we're going to spend the money, why don't we have a company in Wyoming doing the study?
Okay.
You know, I'd rather give the money from Natrona County to somebody at the University of Wyoming to do the studies for us. Thank you, I appreciate it. Any
Thank you.
questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions from anyone?
Thank you for coming.
Okay, thank you. Good evening.
Good evening.
State your name and address, please.
Ross Schriftman, 2200 Mariposa Boulevard, Casper, Wyoming.
Thank you.
My name is Ross Schriftman. I'm a member of the Casper Area Pro-Life Community and a member of the Jewish Pro-Life Foundation. I am here to express my First Amendment rights. While we should be careful with the words we use, we are obligated to speak the truth. I will not sugarcoat this. Sadly, violence has come to our community, brought here by a business based in Washington, D.C. Just a few blocks from here, babies are dying and women are at risk for medical and emotional harm. An abortion is a procedure that intentionally takes the life of an unborn baby. Therefore, I stand here this evening with the support of more than 300 of my fellow citizens to present to you the following proposed resolution. Whereas Wyoming is the equality state, and whereas the Wyoming Constitution states in Section 1 that all members of the human race are equal, and whereas unborn children are part of the human race, and whereas all persons of the human race have value and deserve to live, and whereas unborn children are the most vulnerable humans, be it resolved that the County of Natrona condemns the establishment of a business in our county that plans to kill unborn babies in painful and inhumane ways for profit. Every year, about 900,000 babies die from abortion in our nation, and over 60 million since 1973. In a chemical abortion, the mother takes 2 pills. The first one starves the baby to death. The second pill causes the mom's uterus to contract and forces the dead baby out of her mother and usually into the toilet. The baby is then flushed and ends up in our sewer system. Risks to the surviving mom include severe pain, heavy bleeding, infections, undetected ectopic pregnancy, which is life-threatening, permanent infertility, and emotional trauma seeing her dead baby floating in the toilet. It has been reported that this business is performing second trimester abortions known as dilation and evacuation. The second trimester is from 14 weeks to 26 weeks after conception, the size of my hand. At this age, the baby already kicks, moves, and can hear our voices. In this procedure, the abortion doctor uses tools to open the cervix and then grasp and pulls off legs and arms and other body parts from the mother's vaginal canal. Finally, the baby's head is grasped and crushed. All the pieces are put back together to make sure no pieces is left inside the mom. Can anyone remain neutral while this is occurring in our county? The People's Legislature overwhelmingly passed the Life is a Human Right Act, but a district judge has put a hold on our law. Women who face the difficulty of an unplanned pregnancy need our compassion and support. Although most abortions are done for financial, career, or young age reasons, the law provides exceptions for the small number of situations as a life threat to the mother or fetal abnormality. Even in those cases, a preterm induction of delivery is the safest and most humane procedure rather than a brutal abortion, and allows parents to mourn the loss of their child. And a miscarriage is not an abortion because it is not the intentional killing of the baby. For women in crisis, my message is clear. If you embrace what you think is a problem today, you will soon realize what a great bundle of joy you have inside you. There are so many people here in Casper willing to help you. We care about you. Please don't make a quick decision. Take your time to explore your options to make the best decision for you and your baby. There are free resources that can smooth the way. Natrona County Commissioners, please give our resolution your consideration and acknowledge that Natrona County is a pro-baby, pro-mom, and dad's pro-life affirming paradise. At this time, I ask all those supporting this resolution to stand and pray silently for the moms, babies, and families. We especially pray for the staff of the abortion clinic, that their hearts are changed, and that they join with us to uphold life, our most precious gift. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have the resolutions. Can I turn it over to the chairman or secretary?
Thank you for telling me that. I'm Jeanette Ward. I live at 1600 East 26th Street. I'm also the House District Representative for District 57. I moved here from a state where abortion is legal up to and including the moment of birth, and that law was co-sponsored by my 2020 State Senate Democrat opponent. So it warms my heart to see so many committed to the cause of life here in Wyoming. But I'm here to tell you, unless you stand up, sacrificing to the god Molech will continue here too. For those of you who don't know, Molech was a false god, really a demon, to whom the ancient world sacrificed their children by making them pass through fire or burning them to death. Now, in our modern age, we do it cleanly, clinically, and diabolically. We are returning to the primitive, to neo-paganism. As Bob Dylan said, you're going to have to serve somebody. It may be the devil or it may be the Lord, but you're going to have to serve somebody. Just a few weeks ago, I got into a back and forth discussion with the president of the Natrona County Republican Women, who argued that we should give up on the pro-life cause to gain Republican votes, and that standing for life violates the separation of church and state. She seems to be unaware that the separation of church and state is not in our Constitution or our Declaration of Independence, and that her position is a religious one, not based on biological reality. And that letter that Thomas Jefferson wrote to the Danbury Baptist about the separation of church and state promised to keep the state out of the business of the church, not to keep the church out of the state. Fortunately, a majority of we the people and Wyoming legislators understand this, and House Bill 152 and Senate File 109, Life is a Human Right Act, and prohibiting chemical abortions became law, although House Bill 152 without the governor's signature. I was proud to be a co-sponsor on both. However, Governor Gordon appointed a radical judge in Jackson who gave the middle finger to the legislature and we the people and put a temporary restraining order on our law on the basis that it establishes religion and that abortion is health care. I'm here to tell you that killing babies is a religion. And it's funny how the court protects the so-called medical freedom right of women to kill their babies, but did not protect our rights when we were being forced vaccinated or losing our jobs during the scamdemic. Yes, I said scamdemic. So now, because we have a governor who's not really pro-life, and we have the will of the people and the right to life being thwarted by a radical judge, and we have an abortuary now open at 918 East 2nd Street, this abortuary is illegal. It is not a legal business. I implore you, as the lesser magistrates, to abide by the law and the will of we, the people, and prevent the business from performing its gruesome and macabre activities. The county commissioners need to stand up and take action and shut it down.
I'm Kara Lynn. I live at 1741, I'm nervous, 1741 Blue Spruce Drive. I see many faces that are familiar to me in front of me here, and I have worked with you guys. I've been in meetings with you. I've helped campaign for some of you, and I really appreciate what you do for the county of Natrona, so thank you. A couple of definitions. A fetus is an unborn baby, therefore an unborn human being. Abortion ends the life of an unborn baby, and there are two kinds. Spontaneous, as when the baby dies naturally in the womb, and also when the fetus is implanted by a freak of nature into the wrong place, into the fallopian tube, in which case the mother and baby will both die unless it is removed. But in both of those cases, in all of those cases, the baby is not subject to abuse or violence. It's simply a natural action. But the other kind of abortion, as we've already heard tonight, is intentional. And this involves, and I apologize for being graphic, but this is just the truth. It involves the tearing and or cutting the unborn baby into pieces, sectioning the parts out, crushing the skull in larger unborn babies, or burning the baby alive with chemicals. All of these things cause horrific pain and suffering to the baby, as we can all imagine. This kind of abortion is what we're here today to talk about. And it is not health care. It is a violent act of murder. Nothing a woman could suffer by being pregnant for 9 months, including giving birth, could be as bad as the trauma suffered by a living baby being torn apart, cut into pieces, or being burned alive. Again, what happens to the baby in an intentional abortion is not health care. There was a time in modern history when the slave trade was considered a right of the wealthy. Bloody wars were fought over this issue, and legislative bodies voted over and over again to retain the slave trade for decades before reason and humanity finally won. It's time for reason and humanity to stop the violent murder of our unborn. Part of your role as county commissioners is to be responsible for protecting the public health. I'm so sorry, Dallas, I feel for you. During the COVID-19 pandemic, you all did your very best, I know you did, to protect the public health by threatening to close businesses that would not follow public health orders, such as masking and social distancing. So when we tell you that a business in Natrona County is advertising procedures that violently end the lives of unborn children, and we know these methods are common to include suction, tearing, cutting, crushing, and burning alive of unborn children. This is a clear and present danger to the public health of people in Natrona County, and you must revoke the business license of any business committing such heinous acts of violence and murder. Let them provide their other services, but not abortion. It is murder. It is violent. We're all aware, oh, and it's not health care, by the way. We're all aware that one judge in one county in Wyoming has taken it upon herself to try to silence the voice of the people and our legislature on this subject. But there has been no judicial ruling as of yet. So this is a very appropriate time for the people, through you, our county commission, to make the loud and clear statement that exacting death by suction, tearing, cutting, crushing, and chemical burning is not health care. And we will not have the blood of these innocent unborn human beings on our hands. The public health is threatened by any clinic that makes money from the violent destruction of human life. I implore you all, please, do the right thing in this situation. The final thing I have for you is in response to some of the, I guess, seditious reporting in the local papers about the behavior of people who protest peacefully outside this abortuary. We signed a legally binding document by 40 Days for Life saying that we will not do anything that's violent, that is obstructing anybody's freedom, or that is profane. And this is something that every one of us signs, and you will know if you ever come down to that abortuary and watch us. We are a peace-loving people who simply by our consciences cannot stand by while these children are taken from their mother's wombs violently. Thank you again.
I'm Terry Winship. I live at 1711 Newport Street here in Casper. I'm the former president of True Care Women's Resource Center, a medical pregnancy resource center located here in Casper, and I retired last year after 23 years. And I'd like to just talk a little bit about the side effects of abortion. So possible side effects range from the less severe and most common, such as bleeding, cramping, fatigue, diarrhea, nausea, vomiting, and chills, to the more severe and less common, such as heavy bleeding, infection, damage to the cervix and uterus, future preterm births, complications in future pregnancies, and infertility. Now, whether a woman experiences severe side effects after an abortion can depend on her current physical health. For instance, a woman seeking an abortion should be screened and treated for certain sexually transmitted diseases prior to having an abortion to avoid infection that can lead to pelvic inflammatory disease, which can affect her future fertility for when she may desire to have a child. The emotional effects of abortion may include things like depression, sadness, and anxiety, relationship difficulties, suicidal ideation and attempts, inability to bond with her other children, and negative coping behaviors such as drug and alcohol abuse. The emotional effects a woman may experience after having an abortion may depend largely on her overall emotional and mental health. Women who feel pressured by a boyfriend, husband, parent, or some other significant person in their lives are also more likely to experience the emotional side effects of abortion. And in my experience, a large percentage of women who came to True Care for pregnancy testing and education on their options in an unplanned pregnancy reported being pressured to abort by someone that they knew or they loved. Other pressures that women experience include concerns about finances and interruption to their education or careers. And the goal of True Care, in addition to education on all options, is to help women identify who or what is pressuring them to abort and to help them find resources and emotional support if they decide to carry to term. And the spiritual lives of some women are also affected by abortion. Again, pressure from a loved one can play a part in this. Women who regularly practice their religion or who grew up in a family or culture where abortion is seen as a sin are more likely to feel distant or abandoned by God. Many women initially feel relief after their abortions. They've gotten rid of the problem, and regret doesn't always manifest right away. In my experience, it's been 8 to 10 years after an abortion before a woman seeks help for the emotional or spiritual effects, and that's only if she's made aware of the fact that the abortion may be the root cause of her emotional or spiritual suffering. And these are things that we just don't often talk about or hear about. Most women are encouraged not to think about it and just to get on with their lives. But 8 to 10 years is a long time to suffer in silence. So thank you very much.
Hello. My name is Carol Chapin. I'm at 3840 East 18th Street. And I was your salesperson back in the 1990s who worked for the Convention and Visitors Bureau and brought in CNFR. I'm surprised it's still here. Also Cruising with the Oldies and some other events into Casper and to Natrona County. Those events, like some people think, didn't just fall in our lap. There was a lot of work going into bidding for initial bidding process of those events. And just because they've been here 20-something years doesn't mean that they won't leave. CNFR came in here because we were a family-friendly community. But I don't see that now. Not now. Not since Wellspring opened their doors. We stole CNFR from Texas U, and now they have an opportunity to steal it back, because in Texas we have many, many sanctuary cities, and which ban abortion. So I foresee that they will probably try bidding back with the same thing that we took them away from them. Natrona County also hosts the high school tournaments because it's central to our location. This is the same reason that this abortion clinic opened, because we're central to the region. So I'm sad to see that they're using the same way of doing it. However, Gillette, Cheyenne, they can easily be equipped to hold those events. So, and they may choose to take an alternative location. How much lodging tax dollars are we going to lose if that's the case? We are already, even before the clinic opened, experiencing violence. I personally have been verbally assaulted and my property stolen by one of their supporters. They lie to the press. They have no oversight from the Natrona County Health Department. They operate behind high walls, fenced, locked. Everything's locked. What kind of business is that? They take in patients, or customers, I call them, through the alley. What kind of operation is that? They bring in children from all around the state and out of state who have been pressured into taking an elective abortion. They say in their advertising they offer all these wonderful women's services. Don't believe it. It's a lie. It's a front. Their focus is on the big money that they make from abortions. $400 for the pills, which takes about a half hour, by the way. Just all I do is give them a pill and wait, and then give them the other one to take home. $4,000 to kill and remove a 23-week-old vital child in the womb. You know what kind of people frequent abortion clinics? I'll tell you. Prostitutes, sex traffickers, child molesters, pedophiliacs. They bring their victims in and they pay cash. And they're repeat customers. They advertise that they intend to be the biggest abortion industry operation in this country. This is a test. They're coming here, they advertise, and they bring in people from Idaho, Nebraska, North and South Dakota, and parts of Montana. They call themselves the Rocky Mountain West abortion capital. That's not my words, that's their words. And soon, you're going to find out that they're going to start opening up satellite offices all over the state. What is going to happen to our wonderful family events, such as McFest, when an abortion activist and out-of-state organizers come in with their hateful ideology? I was just going to thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman and Commission. My name is Kathy Ide. I live at 3838 Garden Creek Road. Thank you for this opportunity to share my concerns. There are two issues that are being addressed tonight in regard to Wellspring Clinic. The first is that many in our community, myself included, are requesting our elected local officials to close down the Wellspring Clinic, which not only offers abortions and transgender chemical castration services, but is in clear violation of Wyoming law. The second issue, which is the one I wish to address, is the incredibly important role of upholding law. When I spoke before the City Council a couple of weeks ago, our mayor stated that the city is upholding law because of the temporary restraining orders on the Life is a Human Right Act and the abortion trigger ban, which were put in place by Teton County 9th District Court Judge Melissa Owens. I strongly disagree with the mayor's excuse. Only one branch of government makes law. It is not the executive branch nor the judicial branch. It is only through the legislative branch that law is made. This is clearly set forth both in our U.S. Constitution and Wyoming Constitution. Over recent years, the courts have gradually abandoned their proper role of policing the structural limits on government and neutrally interpreting laws without personal bias. Law is expressed in words, and words have meaning. Judges who depart from any plausible meaning of those words are not interpreting, but legislating. Activist judges like Melissa Owens substitute their own political opinions for the applicable law, effectively legislating from the bench. This harmful practice uses the courts to attempt to make law, thereby negating the people's ability to self-govern. It destroys the court's independence, subjecting it to pressure from special interest groups. We must put a stop to allowing the courts to operate as a super legislature. The ability to use the courts as a super legislature corrupts the other branches of government by breaking down the checks and balances which are needed to prevent the abuse of power. Disturbingly, Judge Owens has been quoted as saying it is up to the courts, not lawmakers, to decide if abortion is health care. It was a sad day for Wyoming's unborn children when Governor Gordon appointed activist Judge Melissa Owens to the bench. Our nation's moral foundation is being attacked at all levels, from drag queen performances to gay pride events that include and target young children. Pro-life citizens of Wyoming have elected pro-life legislators who reflect the people's will to defend unborn children. And as a result, Wyoming State Legislature has passed numerous bills that defend unborn children, including prohibiting Senate File 109, House Bill 92, and House Bill 152. But pro-abortion advocates have lost in Wyoming's public and political arena, and they have lost fair and square. We are not short on evidence of what the will of the people is, but we are short on local elected officials who fail to uphold the rule of law and to abide by it. It is time to stop with the excuses. By doing so, you're subverting the lawful will of the people. I urge you to adhere to Wyoming law and halt the business operation of Wellspring Abortion Clinic until such time that the law should change. And I guess maybe I'd left this off, but I'd like to know maybe whenever you discuss things afterwards, but it seems clear to me that it's the city that is in violation of law. And I'm not sure about what sort of jurisdictional overlap that the county has with the city. And it probably, I guess by your shaking of your head, no. And so maybe this is definitely more a city issue. But I think it's important that that you, as a county commission, you still should stand up for us and encourage and pressure the city to uphold law. Thank you.
Good evening. Bob Brechtel, 6980 Lake Drive, Evansville. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, we assemble and pray and hold signs at 918 East 2nd out of love for mothers and babies in need of something better than abortion. We pray for change of heart among staff at Wellspring Health Access. We pray for an end to abortion in our community. We represent 37 faith communities who know silence in the face of evil is not an option. Together, we can make a difference. We would like to invite you, our commissioners, to stand with us. There are things that we could do together. We have things that we are not prepared to promote tonight, but would like to talk to you individually as time goes on here. But we are there every Thursday at 5:30 p.m. In prayer to end abortion in our community. And we would invite any of you or all of you to come and stand with us. There's a couple of reasons that I think that you should consider this request. Ultrasound silence is conclusive. Women previously seeking abortion overwhelmingly choose life when they see their ultrasound. We have free ultrasound services available to both mom and dad. No services offered by Wellspring Health Access are needed. In the video Silent Scream, Dr. Bernard Nathanson, who was responsible for thousands of abortions, saw for the first time the inhumanity of abortion with the advent of ultrasound. He and his colleagues never did another abortion. The movie includes actual ultrasound video of abortion at 12 weeks. The baby's heart rate increases to 200 beats per minute as she violently tries to escape the abortion instruments. There could be no doubt of the baby's sense of danger and of feeling pain. Abortion opposes natural law. Our founding fathers believed in natural law, knowing without it, our nation would fail. The right to life is an inalienable right because it comes from God. If men created such a right, they could take it away again. Abortion is not a right. By its true definition, abortion is never necessary. Abortion hurts women. The will of the people is being trampled. Our community is pro-life. We hear many horns honk, lots of thumbs up in support of life. People's laws have been repressed. There is much frustration. Clients are coming from surrounding states. Will Casper go on the map as being the abortion capital? Our citizens oppose this violent industry in our community. We are a peaceful people who love God and we love His people. Abortion services are not needed in our community. We can never be silent. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, I hope you will work with us. Thank you for your service to our community. God bless.
Hi, I'm Mary Schmidt from Casper, Wyoming. I understand that you guys are the funders or do partially fund the Casper-Natrona County or the Natrona County Health Department as well as the coroner's office. So I respectfully ask you to use that funding power and to encourage both entities to ensure that the babies that are killed at the wellspring are properly buried. Just as you would a homeless man or homeless woman or a veteran that has no family to attend a funeral, I ask that you ensure that these children are properly buried and given that at least a little bit of respect and dignity when they end up in such a horrible state. Secondly, I ask that you use the full authority of the Casper Health Department and your authority to ensure that children are not being prescribed non-FDA-approved medications for gender dysphoria. Yes, none of those medications are FDA-approved. And so I ask that you ensure that your health department is properly ensuring that they are not prescribing things that are not okay for children to be taking, and that children under the age of 18 are not being serviced at that without proper parental authority and parental awareness, because that is not allowed, and that is under your purview as a county commissioner and funders of a county health department. So I ask that, I know you won't stop it from being operating, but I do ask that you use your authority to ensure that they are operating under the strictest authority possible, and that those children are protected, our children are protected from being given birth controls or gender dysphoria drugs or encouraged to go to Colorado and how to get finance to go down there for surgeries. All things that we here in Natrona County and here in Wyoming do not allow under our health provisions, and as well as those poor children, those poor babies that are brutalized, as you have heard tonight, are properly buried. And I'm sure you can work with all of the churches in this community and our own city funeral or cemetery to find a plot to bury those children. That's the least you can do under your authority, and I strongly encourage you to do that. Thank you.
Good evening. Mike Pyatt, whatever our address is, I think it's 3841 15th Street, apartment 606. The people that spoke were so eloquent. I'm not one of those eloquent speakers. I see myself as kind of the cleanup hitter. You know what that is, don't you? So what I want to do, and I've worked with many of you, I know Jim, Peter, I don't know Steve as well, I know Dave, and my old friend Dallas, we've gotten to know each other. So the things we've heard tonight, and we understand your role, I wish the city council would have been more bold, but tonight, what I was thinking, symbolism means an awful lot. So if you can't shut the place down, symbolically, you can stand with and for the unborn. The flags that we see, the flag doesn't make liberty happen. It's the people who advance liberty. Symbolism is important in the culture we live in. Husband and wife, that marriage bond, that's symbolism. So tonight, while you've heard so much, what I'm going to do is ask you as commissioners, you've heard these people, I'm going to ask you now, as a symbolic gesture, would you please stand right now for life? Stand up if you support what you've heard. Please. It's your choice. I want you to stand. Thank you for standing. And I want those out here to remember those who stood. You may have been reluctant, but we want you have a bully pulpit too, to speak out for life. Thank you, gentlemen.
Chairman, Commission, Dan Sabrowski, 1639 Palomino Avenue, bar none. I don't think, we kind of go back and forth, and some of the comments were made. Some kind of maybe agree you don't have the authority to do much, that this would be a symbolic statement. Let me help you. On your Natrona County Health Department website, it says, one of their obligations and duties is to provide healthcare licensing and inspections to assure that residents and patients receiving quality care from healthcare facilities required to be licensed by the state of Wyoming. Also promotes health and safety through on-site inspections and complaint investigations. And that tells me if our health care department had the backing of you guys, they could go in there and determine killing babies is not health care and shut the place down. But that sure does. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Darcy Gudger, and 827 Fossil Butte Mills. I was not planning to speak, but I want to give a side of the story as an adoptive parent. My son, Kyle, is 17 years old. He will be a senior at Natrona County High School. My son, his life was spared by a crisis pregnancy center in Colorado, very similar to True Care. His mother found herself in a situation. She was a teenager. She was forcibly made pregnant, and she needed help. The Crisis Pregnancy Center did an ultrasound. She saw that she was carrying a life, and she made the choice, the heroic choice, to carry. They helped her through all 9 months. And then for a year afterwards, we had contact with her until she decided that, she needed to cut off the relationship for her own mental health purposes. But I want to tell you that my son, if that clinic did not intervene in his life, he would not be here today. He is an amazing child. He has above a 4.0 average. He's a musician. He's an athlete. He's a very godly young man who loves life. And abortion, they would have sucked him into pieces. When every mother who, out of fear, is taken into such a horrible place goes through that procedure, think about what could be lost, what is lost, who those babies could be. My son is very fortunate that there was intervention available and that they intervened. I would love to see this murder, this senseless murder and dismemberment stop in this state so that these children have the chance to become the soul that God intended them to be, because all life is created by God. God hates murder, and that's what this is. And there is a penalty in eternity for those who do not stand up for life. So I also implore you, county commissioners, please, please do whatever it takes to shut that place down and run them out of town, so that those babies have a chance, like my son, to become something amazing and to love life and love their community and love their parents. Thank you.
Is there any other public comment?
My name is Rosemary Grayson, 710 East 16th Street, Casper. I didn't plan on speaking, but as I'm listening, you know, have we missed the fact that there are other solutions besides abortion? I mean, that isn't the only solution, so this is really not necessary. And do we want to list in our Chamber of Commerce and on Wikipedia that Casper is a abortion tourism capital? Babies go in to Wellspring, but they don't come out. Women, they're bereaved. There's two people that suffer. A baby dies and a mother has a loss. And whether she gets it at the moment or not, I've talked to plenty of women because people tell me, I tell you things I don't tell anyone else, so I've heard. And, you know, I don't know if you want to promote your city as being a haven for this insidious thing. But that's up to you. You know the resources at your, that are available to you. I don't believe our Constitution says that you can, I think we have the right to life is extended to unborn children. I don't think mutilation is acknowledged and permitted in our Constitution. You know, I don't think brainwashing and pushing ideologies is, you know, I think a fair representation of the options is really a great idea. And I did read the articles that the news is presenting about Wellspring and about us that represent pro-life, and there was very little truth to it. You know, they lied. So, so now that I've made a fool of myself, I ask that you know, take into consideration not only legal but moral responsibilities. Thank you.
My name is Jack Olson, 61 Magnolia Street in Casper, and I want to thank you, commissioners, for the great work that you do, and thank you for your service, and we pray for you, and we'll continue to do so. I just want to say this from a little bit different perspective, perhaps. We are proud citizens of the state of Wyoming, and one of the things that we pride ourselves on is that we like to do things that we feel are right. We don't like Washington or anyone else telling us what to do. The thing that disturbs me about this abortion clinic that has come into our city is that we didn't invite them to come in. They just came in because they said, you know, Wyoming is an abortion desert. And so there needs to be a clinic here. Well, I do some study on Abraham Lincoln, and of course his great saying was government of the people, by the people, and for the people. The people of Wyoming, we, citizens of Casper, we didn't invite this clinic to come in and be a part of us. And I know that your hands are tied in some respects regarding the legal things that have happened. However, our state legislature has made it very clear what we, the state of Wyoming, wants. So together, I think we have to work together to try to make sure that the will of the people of the state of Wyoming, the city of Casper, citizens of Natrona County, is brought forward and is done. And I know that a critical thing in this whole issue right now is public sentiment. People need to have their thinking changed. And you are influencers in our community, and I hope that you will join us in helping to change the thinking of the citizens of Casper, Natrona County, state of Wyoming. Thank you for your service.
Oh, I didn't hear that. Jennifer Hopkins, bar none. 1816 Mandan Trail. So we talk about, this is about women and healthcare. And
let's talk about that. I have three quick stories. I grew up in Phoenix. I came back, my family came back to Wyoming. And when I was probably about 10, 11 years old, I'm in Phoenix, abortion was legal. And so my neighbor called me over when I was young, and she says, Jennifer, you need to help me carry my groceries into the house. I just had an abortion. So that's one story. That was not her first. It was, she had many, and then her daughter also had an abortion because it was their solution, their birth control, to to bring a baby to term. My friend, her daughter, did end up having another child. Another story is when I was still in Phoenix, when I was 16 years old, my friend got pregnant. And her mother decided that the solution was to have an abortion. A year later, my friend got pregnant and had a child. My third story is that when I lived here, my friend came from Kansas, and her mother thought also it was a solution that for her daughter to have an abortion. My friend married someone quickly after that, and then she proceeded to have 5 children. Did that health care help her? No, I'm sorry, it didn't. She had a lot of problems and situations she had to work through, and it was a place like True Care that actually helped her in the end to come to terms what the abortion had done to her, her health care. So what I'm coming to you is, if we are trying to find a solution for health care for women, this is not it. This is not going to make a woman healthier because she killed her child. Having support, like a place like True Care, helps women seek real health care, real solutions. Please, we all implore you, do what's in your power to rid ourselves of murdering children. Thank you.
We have any other public comments?
Good evening, Commissioners. Andrea Boyer, 2116 Omaha Trail in Bar None. I honestly wasn't planning to speak or anything, and I can't add really any more to what has already been said so articulately. The truth has been spoken here tonight. And I simply want to add my voice in support of it. My faith requires it of me. Knowing that there is something wrong, I am required to speak up about it. And so I want to add my voice tonight and my support for all those who have already spoken before me. And just one idea I did have come to mind. This board in the past, in response to the threat of gun rights being diminished or taken away, has declared Natrona County a gun rights sanctuary. And I can't help but think that maybe we can do the same to protect the unborn. And that's all I have. Thank you.
Any other public comment?
Rosemary Saban, 9460 West Zero Road. I'm going to make this real short. You guys continue to prove to us that you pick and choose when you're going to look out for our health, safety, and welfare.
any other public comment? Okay, we'll go to Commissioner around the table. Commissioner Mill.
I really don't know why you always start with me. First, I'd like to thank everybody, each and every one of you that came out and gave voice to your freedom of speech. It's awesome. Glad to hear it. And I do hear you. I do understand you. I am listening. I have the same. I've attended prayer vigil. I've gone to the True Care dinners. I understand. Okay, I understand. All right. But I'm glad to see you all come out. It is a very important topic, something that we need to take care of. Moving past that, I would like to thank our clerk, our staff, the elected officials, directors, managers, other commissioners. We're in the middle of budget right now, trying to figure out the county's budget. And we're trying to be fiscally responsible while trying to handle the county's needs and potentially accommodate some of the requests from its citizens. I believe the process has been really good this year. It's been very smooth, more so than some other past years. So I'm kind of grateful for that. But yeah, we've made good progress. I see us coming to a close fairly rapidly with the budget. So there's a bright spot on that. Also, as you all know, the CNFR was here, had really good representation from Wyoming, and I'd like to congratulate all the winners of the CNFR for the different categories. It was an amazing rodeo. And to all the participants, you know, it was a good ride, cowboy. Really good ride. Other than that, I think I'm good. Let the next person have some chat time.
Commissioner Nicholas.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for showing up tonight. Many of you spoke, most all of you spoke on an issue near and dear to your hearts. It's an issue that's important to me, but I think a lot of you recognize that what we can do and what our charge is under Wyoming State statute is limited. And I think one of you mentioned specifically our jurisdictional limitations. And so our job is to listen to your public comment, and we did that tonight. I would echo a lot of the comments that Commissioner Milne made with respect to our budgeting process. We spent the last 2 days kind of looking over both the expense side and the revenue side, and I feel pretty good with where we stand. Some things need to be finalized, but I think it was pretty smooth this year, and I would really like to thank our clerk, Tracy Good. I think she does an excellent job on this and leads us in, really, applause. She's a real pro at this, and lots of other people help out in this. She has people helping her, but the other elected officials, department heads, and staff and employees of the county work really hard. And Michelle, a shout out to you too for doing so much for keeping us in line and keeping us on track. So thanks. We're gonna get our budget finalized here in short order. The only other thing I'd like to mention is the county and the city, but the county passed a resolution authorizing the declaration of a disaster and state of emergency due to the flooding on June 15th. And it's a high bar for basically some of the federal assistance that I think some of the folks in Natrona County and in the city of Casper are hoping to get. The primary driver, I think, at this point is for citizens of the county and the city to file claims and have those damages reported. So I'd encourage folks to do that, and I think we've kind of done what we can do to keep the process moving forward, and I hope that the citizens can also file your damage claims, and we'll hope that there's some relief, because I know a lot of people didn't have flood insurance because they're out of the floodplain, and guess what the insurance companies say. So in any event, that's all I had. Thanks, Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner Laird.
In 1973, I handled a case. I was just out of law school, and I worked for legal aid. And this young lady came in and said, well, under Wyoming law, I can't get an abortion. And of course, I didn't even know we had a law on that then. And so the director told me I had to look into it, so I did. And the law then was really weird. You could have an abortion in the first trimester, and then in the second trimester it was some other devious concoction made by men, and then the third trimester they just forbid it other than if it would cause the death of the mother, is the way I remember it. So they said, well, we're signing you this case, you can file this case. And you know what's interesting? That case occurred in this courtroom. I've tried most of my cases in this courtroom. And so I filed a lawsuit for legal aid and asked that the Wyoming statute on abortion be declared unconstitutional. And I won the case, and it went down to the Supreme Court of Wyoming, and they upheld it based upon Roe versus Wade. But the thing that I always knew was kind of a victory for me is that I got rid of a statute that allowed abortion. Because it did. Because we had no statute then. And so the lady who came into me as a client, who we named Jane Doe to protect her name at the time, I won the case, and all my life, I worried that she went through that abortion. So about 30 years later, these two women come to my office. I've been in the same office for 45 years. And these two women came in and said, are you Mr. Laird? I said, yes. And she says, you don't remember me, but I'm Jane Doe. This is my daughter. She didn't have the abortion. And we all cried, and I was so happy. And so was she, and so was that child. And now, you know, I'm 76 years old. I cry more now. I didn't used to cry. I was a lawyer. I took an oath to uphold the laws of the state of Wyoming. And I intend to do that. And I don't judge anybody. try to read all of the scripture, but trying to understand forgiveness. And I don't pray for myself anymore. None of those were ever answered anyway. But it seems like when I pray for other people, sometimes they seem to get answered. It's an interesting situation for me, but I don't think we have the legal authority to close that place down. It's in the city, it's the city's authority. I'm not sure they even do. As a lawyer, of course, when there's a statute passed, and I agree with what everybody said, but when the courts file injunctive relief and whatever has been done in this case, we as lawyers have to follow that because it's put on hold until the Supreme Court finally decides it. We've had some of that with the county in cases we've been in where the Supreme Court, we couldn't do something and we had to wait for their final ruling. And I don't want to go into it in much more detail. The resolution, that'll be something that I guess we'll vote on, and if there's enough votes, the resolution will be signed. If not, it won't be signed. But I am so happy you all came here. I didn't expect this. I didn't expect really to say this, but that has been bothering me my whole life. But it had a great ending. But I did suffer for 30 years. Never would say anything to anybody about that case. Although it got in all the newspapers and was all over the world at one point. But I just, at that age, I didn't understand things, and did what I was told to do, and I felt that that's what I had to do. Now, I don't listen to people who tell me things I don't like. I listen to them, and I don't judge them because everybody has their own stance on this, and truthfully, I hope God gets it sorted out sooner rather than later.
Commissioner North.
I do want to thank everybody for coming out tonight. You know, this is a topic and an issue that's right in the forefront, and it needs to stay that way. Our legislators did pass some laws last year. I have a real problem with judicial law that's passed from the bench and not from the people. And that doesn't matter if it's here or coming from Washington, D.C. or anywhere else. I have a hard time with that. That's the reason why we elect people to go and make the laws. And yeah, there's some of them that need to be overturned from time to time and some of them that need to be changed. But too many of the activist judges around this country have taken stance to shut down what they shouldn't have had the right to do. And that's separation in the powers, and I disagree with that completely. I'm a firm believer in Jeremiah 1:5. For those of you who don't know what that says, read it. For those of you who do, I can see you shaking your head. I see a lot of things that are changing in our county right now and across this state, and it's not the same place it was 40 years ago when I moved here. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out tonight.
Well, I appreciate y'all coming tonight and your comments that were made. I don't think I have ever taken so many notes in any one of these meetings as I had tonight. There's some good questions that were brought up that frankly I don't have the answers to, but certainly going to look them up. In reference to what was said by Commissioner Nicolason on the declaration of disaster that we did just here a week ago, it's very imperative that anybody that has sustained any kind of damage to their property, that they upload images of that and fill out the proper paperwork on the website itself. We do have certain thresholds that we're going to have to hit financially And so it's Orion, it's through the Sheriff's Department, through Emergency Management, and that's where all the information needs to go to. So just to reiterate how important that is, we've done what we can do on a county level to declare the disaster, and now it's really up to the dollar figures that come in on the damage. As far as CNFR goes, last year, coming out of COVID, it absolutely broke every record, and as of Saturday night, they officially sold out, and they were already, before they even added up alcohol sales in that place, they're already 20,000 over. So we broke records once again with CNFR. So I also had a discussion with Roger Walters, who was the commissioner of College Rodeo. We had a discussion there that they would like to see a museum and a wall of honors for all the past winners from the College National Finals Rodeo. So it's in its infancy stage right now, but they do want to do some up there at the event center itself, whether it's a standalone facility or something within the event center. But they are certainly taking a stake in the fact that Casper is and has been the home for College Rodeo, and with them wanting to take a step like that, I seem to believe that they like where they're at and they plan on staying here. So with that, I have nothing else